This is the Wikipedia page for Toilet God. You're listening to the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. Welcome to WikiListen. I'm Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I'm Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
This is all about pooping and toilets. Part of my favorites. Toilet God. A toilet god is a deity associated with latrines and toilets. Belief in toilet gods, a type of household deity, has been known from both modern and ancient cultures, ranging from Japan to ancient Rome. Such deities have been associated with health, well-being, and fertility because of the association between human waste and agriculture, and have been propitiated in a wide variety of ways, including making offerings, invoking and appeasing them through prayers, meditating, and carrying out ritual actions such as cleaning one's throat before entering, or even biting the latrine to transfer spiritual forces back to the god. Biting the latrine? Wow.
Modern cultures. In Japan, belief in the toilet god, or kawaii kami, most often depicted in the form of ususama myo, served a dual purpose. Most bodily wastes were collected and used as fertilizers, ensuring a higher overall level of sanitation than in other countries where wastes were stored in cesspits or otherwise disposed of. Looking at you, Europe. Toilets were often dark and unpleasant places where the user was at some risk of falling in and drowning. The protection of the toilet god was therefore sought to avoid such an unsanitary fate.
That would be the worst way to go.
This is common. This is a way that people die in North Carolina hog farms, is by falling into the waste cesspit.
I don't know why you know that, but I'm sad to hear. The god also had a role to play in promoting fertility, as human waste was collected and used as fertilizer. Rituals were performed at the new year to ask the kawaii kami for help in producing a good harvest. In some places, family members would sit on a straw mat in front of a toilet and eat a mouthful of rice, symbolizing eating something that the god had left. A properly appointed toilet would be decorated and kept as clean as possible, as the toilet god was considered to be very beautiful. The state of the toilet was said to have an effect on the physical appearance of unborn children. Pregnant women asked the toilet god to give boys a high nose and dimples to girls. If the toilet was dirty, however, it was said to cause children to be born ugly and unhappy. According to a different Japanese tradition, the toilet god was said to be a blind man holding a spear in his hand. This presented an obvious and painful threat when squatting down to defecate, so it was regarded as necessary to clear one's throat before entering, so that the blind toilet god would sheath his spear and not
humans
stab
doing
you in
human
the butt.
things.
What?
Humans doing human things.
I don't even know what you mean by that. Are you trying to communicate with me in any way?
Various rituals and names were associated with the latrine god in different parts of Japan. On Ishigaki Island, it was called kamutaka and was propitiated by the sick with sticks of incense, flowers, rice, and rice wine. In Nagano Prefecture's former Minamiyazumi district, sufferers from toothache offered lights to the toilet god, which was called Takagami-sama. The inhabitants of Hiroshima called the toilet god Sechin-san, while those of Oita Prefecture called it Sechin-bisan, and those of Ehime Prefecture called it Oshima-sama.
I'm just going to start laughing because as I see you having to pronounce these words, when I see them coming up, it's really funny.
I always feel the same way for you.
Mm-hmm.
The American anthropologist John Embry recorded in the 1930s that the inhabitants of part of the southernmost Japanese island of Kyushu would put a branch of willow or Chinese nettle tree decorated with pieces of mochi, rice cake, into the toilet as an offering to ask the toilet god to protect the house's inhabitants from bladder problems in the coming year.
The Ainu people of far northern Japan and the Russian Far East believed that the Rukar Kamui their version of a toilet god, would be the first to come to help in the event of danger.
In the Ryukyu Islands, including Okinawa Islands, the Furu no Kami, or toilet god, is the family protector of the area of waste. The pig toilet, lacking this benevolent god, could become a place of evil influence and potential haunting, such as by an akaname or other negative spirits, welcomed by the accumulation of waste matter, rejected and abandoned by the human body. Because he is considered a primary household god, the Furu no Kami's habitat, the bathroom, is kept clean and is perceived to warrant deferential behavior. Reports on the family's status are derived regularly to the Furu no Kami. He shares traits with the Korean bathroom goddess, Sekshin.
Similarly, in Korea, the toilet god, or Chukshin, or Chukganism, was known as the young lady of the toilet. She was regarded as having a perverse character and was propitiated each year in October by housewives, along with the other household gods.
A rather different form of toilet god existed in China in the shape of Zigu, also known as Maogu, the lady of the latrine, or the third daughter of the latrine. She was believed to be the spirit of a concubine who had been physically abused by a vengeful wife and had died in the latrine. Her cult appears to have originated in the Shaanxi region and spread across China by the Tang period. Women worshipped her in the form of a homemade doll on the 15th day of each year's first month, when she was ritually summoned in the latrine during the night. Prayers were said to the doll, telling her that the husband and wife had gone and that she could now safely come out. The motions of the doll, sometimes manifested as automatic writing, were used for fortune-telling by the worshippers. Another interpretation came from a popular novel of the Ming period, which portrayed the latrine deity as three sisters who were responsible for the primeval gold dipper, or celestial toilet bowl, from which all beings were born.
Some variants of Buddhism incorporate a belief in Chusma, the god of the latrine, who is said to destroy defilement. A cult developed around Chusma in Zen monasteries where the latrine, the bath, and the meditation hall or refectory were regarded as the three silent places, or Sanmokudo, for contemplation.
In New Zealand, the Achwa, the gods and spirits of the Maori people, were believed to focus on the village latrine. If a warrior experienced sickness or faintness of heart, or carried out an activity regarded as tapu, he would retreat to the latrine and bite its structure. The gods were said to frequent the latrine in large numbers, and excrement was regarded as the food of the dead. Biting the latrine was said to transfer the tapu quality that the biter had acquired back to its origins in the world of the gods. The practice of biting to transfer mana, or tapu, was seen in other areas of Maori life, such as a son biting his dead father's penis to acquire his powers, or a student weaver biting part of the loom to acquire tapu to assist with learning how to weave cloth. That was unexpected. I did not see that coming.
Wow. Toilet gods get freaky. Okay. Ancient European cultures. The inhabitants of ancient Rome had a sewer goddess, a toilet god, and a god of excrement. The sewer goddess, Cloacina, named for the Latin word cloaca, or sewer, was borrowed from Etruscan mythology and became seen as the protectress of the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's sewage system. An early Roman ruler, Titus Tatius, built a shrine to her in his toilet. She was invoked if sewers became blocked or backed up. She was later merged with the better-known Roman goddess Venus and was worshipped at the shrine of Venus Cloacina in the Roman Forum.
Early Christians alleged the Romans to have had a toilet god in the form of Crepidus, who was also the god of flatulence and was invoked if a person had diarrhea or constipation. There are no ancient references to Crepidus. They additionally propitiated Stercutius, named from stercus, or excrement. the god of dung, who was particularly important to farmers when fertilizing their fields with manure. He had a close relationship with Saturn, the god of agriculture. Early Christians seem to have found Stercudius particularly ridiculous. He was a target of mockery for St. Augustine of Hippo in his book City of God in the early 5th century AD.
In popular culture, Japanese singer-songwriter Kana Uemura had a 2010 Billboard chart-topping hit with Toilet no Kami-sama, a song about bonding with her grandmother over a goddess living in a toilet.
On Big Brother 23 United States, house guest Derek Shao was tasked with fulfilling his duties as Lord of the Latrine after losing the Week 5 veto competition.
Okay, so I have not been able to think of anything except for that kid biting his dad's penis. Okay, that's all I've been able to think about since we read it.
You know, I have done other podcast episodes about the history of toilets, and never once did the idea of a toilet god come up.
Well, I guess your other podcast is incomplete and terrible.
I suppose we'll need a part 2.
Perhaps you will.
A number 2, that is.
No, thank you. This has been the Wikipedia page for Toilet God. If you have a Wikipedia page you'd like us to read, let us know. Thanks for listening to WikiListen. To support the show, go to patreon.com/WikiListenPodcast and find us on social media at WikiListen and at wikilisten.com.